Welcome to the 909 podcast. On this episode, you're going to hear a live recording from The Big Romance from one of our listening parties earlier this year. This particular listening party happened in April, and my guest was the journalist Aoife Barry. And she is instrumental in picking this record because she's a big fan of it. Fleet Foxes' 2008 debut album, also called Fleet Foxes. Are you ready to step into a world of misty melodies and cavernous echoes with the Seattle band and their landmark debut album, a defining record of the 2000s indie folk revival led by Robin Pecknold? The album blends the lush pastoral harmonies of the 1960s with a haunting baroque-pop sensibility and lyrical themes rooted in nature, tradition and introspection. That's what I wrote about it when we first were announcing it. And like the Bruegel painting on its cover, every track reveals a dense, beautiful world that evokes a timeless, almost mythical Americana sound. Let's have a listen to the live recording of that with noted Fleet Foxes fan Aoife Barry, who picked the album as I mentioned and also previously appeared on the Jeff Buckley episode and the My Bloody Valentine live event as well, so also available as podcasts if you go back in the feed and have a listen to those. Our next listening party is Smashing Pumpkins later this month. We're doing Siamese Dream. It's already sold out. A popular one already. Upcoming episodes of the Listen Closely recorded series will feature Broken Social Scene coming up as well. You Forgot It in People. Last month I had Mango in to talk to me about the Chemical Brothers' Dig Your Own Hole. So look out for them. And also look out for the listening parties in person coming up. I have some bangers coming up for the rest of the year, so watch out for that. 909 on Eventbrite for those tickets. Patreon members get half price tickets every month, so do consider joining up. Anyway, on with the program, on with the show. Let's listen to our Fleet Foxes episode. Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome to the Listen Closely album listening party. I'm Niall and this is Aoife Barry.
Hello.
We are here tonight because Aoife picked this album. As you have before, you picked Jeff Buckley last year.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing 3 of them.
Oh yeah, we actually did.
So
we went to Cork.
popular.
We did 2 here and then we went to Cork where I'm from
We
to
did,
talk about
yeah.
Jeff Buckley.
And then you were last year at the My Bloody Valentine listening party as well, November. Was that October? October must have been. Well, obviously we are here for a very different album. Fleet Foxes by Fleet Foxes from 2008. As you heard there, as I said, we played a bit of the Sunjoint EP from the band, which came out a few months before this album. Because we want to kind of just give the album its full due. They're kind of different, and we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, if you picked the record.
Yeah, I forgot that I picked it.
Why are we here?
Why are we here? Yeah, I obviously must be like, Niall, you have to do Fleet Foxes. Because I mean, we're all here because, I mean, it's such an incredible record. How many people here? Some people might not have heard it, though. Is anybody here who hasn't heard this record? And oh, that's really exciting. Okay, that's good. I'm excited for you to hear this. You got a sneak kind of peek there of what the vibe is going to be. I picked it because I love this record. It's amazing. But also, I kind of had a funny story of how I first heard them or saw them. So in 2008, when this record came out, I had read about this band called Fleet Foxes in a music magazine. I don't even think I'd heard the song because,
Remember them?
This is back in the day. And I was on holidays in Berlin, and in the tiny little hostel we were staying in, they had a sign up on the wall saying, Fleet Foxes playing, who's playing tonight? Fleet Foxes, Cafe Zapata. And I was said to my boyfriend, I think that's a band I read about in the magazine. Will we just go see them? And he was like, grand. So we did go to see them, and they're fucking unbelievable. And it was so good. Beach House were supporting them. So it was 2008 smacking you in the face.
Come on.
And I took photos, which I found.
Yeah,
so I have photos.
I love this. Artifacts.
Artifacts. One is terrible. The other one's not so terrible. I took them on one of those Canon small little digital cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's them in that little venue. And I still have the ticket. I kept the ticket. I'm obviously one of those hoarders, but I keep all my tickets for gigs and stuff. And I found that I had the tickets at home. But it was so good. The venue they played in had a dragon that breathed fire out every 15 minutes. So literally they'd be playing and this dragon, I'm not even exaggerating, just a fire would like shoot out of this mechanical. It was so Berlin. And they just were so stunning, and Beach House were so stunning. And I love Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young. I love like all those kind of harmony vibes. I'm like, wish I was born in the 70s. Sadly, was not. And so immediately I fell in love with them, and I've been a big fan ever since. Although I will say I probably dipped a little bit with listening to their album around the Crack Up era, their third album. But then I saw them when Shore came out, their most recent album, and fell right back in love with them.
Well, we're going to talk about all the albums that come afterwards, but we're going to start with this one.
Yes.
Because this is presumably your favourite or one of your favourites. Shore, Shore's up there as well, for sure, for me. But yeah, what was it about Fleet Foxes that, like, at the time, I guess, context, right? So at the time, 2008, there was quite a lot of this kind of music around that time. We previously did Bon Iver for Emma Forever Ago as a listen party. And the funny thing is, and I only found this out when we did this, is that they have the same origin story in a way. Yeah. Both of the songwriters went to a cabin in the woods to pour their heart out and write the songs. I think Justin Vernon just got there first in terms of the marketing.
Yes.
So they must have like pulled back on announcing or talking about that too much, because it's basically the same thing. Same story.
And they never really talked about Robin Pecknold's kind of writing process or anything.
I did the same thing, dude.
Yeah, whereas like Bon Iver was such a massive moment, and everybody was like obsessed with this guy who like broke up with a girl and went to a cabin and wrote a record about it. And yeah, it was like the indie folk album. But yeah, I mean, these guys, I think what was really appealing about Fleet Foxes is like they were like 21, 22, maybe like between 22 and 27. And like Robin Pecknold was 21 when he wrote the record, which is frankly offensive, really, because I don't think you should be allowed to be so talented when you're 21. I know. So it's like they clearly were these people who were like from Seattle, which we associate with grunge, and then it becomes this, place where they are bringing out all the kind of pastoral, outdoorsy mountain sea vibes of the Washington area. And they're also obviously really influenced by what was happening in the 70s, by, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, by Laurel Canyon, but also by like, kind of Appalachian folk. There's a real purity to what they're doing. Their harmonies are unbelievable. There's even a bit of kind of gospel-y vibes going on. So they were these young guys, that classic story, making this like album that was being called an iconic American album when it was released. Like The Guardian called it something similar to that, like a landmark American record. And that is special when something like that comes out, because you don't get that many records that are immediately being called landmark, I think.
It was a very exciting time for music though around that time. Yeah. I actually brought some records. I mean, we mentioned Beach House Teen earlier. Obviously, that's a bit later. That's 2010. That's Teen Dream. I wanted to do a listen party for this at some point. I think that'd be a good crack. Previous year, we got Animal Collective and Panda Bear. Person Pitch was around that time. That was when things were at their apex for that. Very experimental band, really. A few years later, we had Sufjan, our very first listening party.
Sufjan fans in the house.
Yeah. Well, sorry, that was 2005, of course. That was
just the best. I love it so much.
Another one that's on the long list for the listen party, Joanna Newsom Ease. That's 2006, I believe. Yes. And then there's stuff that's very similar. I mean, there it is. Look, there you go. Bon Iver. We have stuff like Neutral Milk Hotel as well. Very kind of that kind of vibe.
Which I've noticed people covering Neutral Milk Hotel more now. People
is that happening again?
Yeah, so it's having its like I think when we got it, it was its second turn go around. So that it's now Neutral Milk Hotel is getting its third go round, which is great. It's a great record.
So the band were from Seattle.
Yeah.
So they had a bit of the scruffy kind of flannel lumberjack shirt kind of look to them, but obviously didn't sound like that. So the album, written in the woods, written in the cabin, brought to the band, recorded with Phil Eck, who did a lot of stuff with Bill for Spill.
Yeah, and he worked with the Shins, and he worked with Modest Mouse, a lot, like a really long list.
Are the Shins from Seattle as well?
I think they might be.
Band of Horse is another band. So
Shins
actually,
are so good, yeah.
I guess they ended up releasing the album on Sub Pop.
Yeah,
they recorded it themselves with Phil Eck, paid for it all themselves, and local major independent label Sub Pop came a calling. Obviously known for a lot of grunge kind of music as well, traditionally. But like I said, they were clearly releasing this kind of music around that time. The Shins had been on the label for a few years, Band of Horses. There was stuff like that on the label. But when it came to it, they signed to Sub Pop. Apparently there was a bidding war, as they say.
Yeah, well, they'd like become quite popular on MySpace. Anybody remember MySpace? Every time I do one of these, I feel
Add-
older
add
and
me
older.
in-
And
add
I'm
me
like
to your top
mentioning
8.
the top 8, the Ructions that will be there, but who you put in your top 8? You know, so they like word could spread quite quickly once you were kind of getting popular on MySpace back in the day. And so there was this like, you know, whole interest in what they were doing. But what I thought was really interesting that I didn't know, that I discovered when I was researching, was that when they were recording the album, it was actually a total pain for them to record it because they didn't have a lot of money. They ended up recording a lot of it in like their houses or in Robin Pecknold's family home. And he also ended up redoing all of the vocals right before they mastered the record. So like he re-recorded them. He was sick during the initial recording, so his voice wasn't in great shape. They kept like they recorded it all in one go, and then they scrapped that and did another version. They were kind of trying to move it all around in terms of the order of the songs. So like I'm always so fascinated by albums and pieces of art where the creation was a total pain for the people who were creating it, and they had no idea that it was going to even work out, and they probably were like, I hate this, to the point where Robin Pecknold actually said, I hope nobody cares about this album because I just want to move on to the next one. And then that record ends up being this incredible iconic album. I just find that so interesting, and like I'm kind of obsessed with that idea.
Isn't every artist like sick of their
I
album?
hate my
by the time that's done, you're like,
Van
don't
Gogh,
listen
hate
to
my
it.
paintings.
Yeah. So it's kind of the thing. But I guess 2008 was an interesting time for this to be released. As we said, the album draws kind of from a lot of influences like the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Nick Drake, Simon Garfunkel's in there, Fairport Convention. So very like old. Judy Sills mentioned as well.
Yeah.
Very much like old-timey folk stuff or 60s folk and kind of pastoral. So 2008, there's a financial crash, and the album was being worked on before that, but into the environment the album is released where there's a financial crash. A lot of this music seems to catch. It's kind of like, you know, when things go bad, we retreat, we dream, we listen to music that's maybe the opposite of what we're feeling sometimes. So there was kind of a gentleness, an unhurriedness to this music that maybe was resonating with people at the time. And like I said, Grizzly Bear is another band I meant to mention there, very much of that time. You know, when Jay-Z and Beyonce went to see Grizzly Bear in Brooklyn, that was kind of where all the indie music peaked, you know. And obviously as well, the other part of it, as I was a part of this as well, the MP3 music blogs and all that kind of stuff, where you would hear about this music as well. Certainly that's where I heard, obviously Grizzly Bear were on Warp, but like especially the American and Canadian stuff, you'd kind of hear about this music through music blogs because no one was promoting it yet over here, so you'd be months ahead. So you kind of get to hear Fleet Foxes and kind of stuff in these MP3 formats. And
that was a mad period because like music could it really showed us how the internet could collapse like geography, you know. So like a song could spread really quickly on the kind of on music blogs. And just to go to the era when this came out, if you think about it in an American context, like it's post Bush, you know, you have Obama era coming in, you have like a more of a hopeful tone to things over there. Obviously they're American band globally, you know, we're hoping for better days. And there was that crash as well, the Lehman Brothers financial crash. So like you have these pressures going on globally, and then you have these hopeful positive times too. And it's interesting to like wonder if these albums are a reaction to it, or if the reason why they appeal to us so much is because we're like, I want nice, happy things. I want something, you know. I feel like Fleet Foxes have so much depth to them emotionally. You know, they're a band that like, I feel like there's like yearning in there, there's sadness in there, there's hope in there, there's nostalgia. And there's something about these periods of time where we are reflecting on the world we live in, and we like gravitate towards these bands that have these like intense things going on. Because Grizzly Bear, I loved Yellow House as well. That's their second or first record? First record?
I think it was the first
record, yeah. Anyway, I loved Yellow House, and that was quite it's like a complex, kind of complicated, interesting, almost jazzy at times record. And I think that sounded beautiful, but had a lot going on. So I think there's that thing where we're like, we weren't going for simplistic music, but we wanted music that gave us depth and gave us like beauty. You know, is art a solution to the world collapsing? We could be answering that in 2026. We live in a cursed timeline, as I keep saying.
Yeah, well, anyway, back to the past.
We truly didn't know how good we got it in 2008. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, 2008. Okay, so what else happened in 2008? In the wider circle of music that I would have been interested in, Portishead returned with their third album. TV on the Radio released Dear Science. MGMT released Oracular Spectaculars and
what a band.
Kids and all that. Cut Copy. Indie Sleaze Night on Saturday, folks. Come on.
Cut copy released in Ghost Colors in 2008 as well. Kanye West 808 and Heartbreak.
Oh wow,
It
yeah.
was November that year. Rihanna was at the peak of her powers, really. What else did you mention?
Katy Perry, she appeared that
American Boy,
year.
Estelle.
American Boy, that is still one of the best pop songs of like
Fire.
2000.
Yeah.
American Boy, so good. Yeah.
So that was kind of the context in which this album arrived.
Yeah, really like vibrant, varied music being released that year.
Yeah, Iron and Wine was the other one I forgot to mention.
Yeah,
he was on Sub Pop as
Sub
well.
Pop, yeah.
So
oh, he was lovely.
it was quite a lot. So
still releasing stuff.
As you heard there, Sun Giant, the EP. So I guess the thing about this is it came out before. Yes.
Yeah, but recorded.
Came out
after.
before.
Recorded.
Yeah.
After.
So it was kind of the album was done. They put it in the bag.
Yeah.
They decided we'd go into the studio and record Sun Giant, a collection of songs. It was intended to be a collection of songs for tour, to sell on tour. But I think it ended up being quite popular. And for a lot of people who heard, it was maybe their first, hearing, the first time they actually discovered Fleet Foxes. Obviously, the big one there, Mykonos. Clearly, just like the Corona's San Diego song, their, summer holiday anthem.
Yeah, exactly the same.
It wasn't. It wasn't anything like that. But yeah, so that came out before the album came out, and then the album arrives. So what was the kind of like reaction at the time? Was it an immediate one?
Yeah, like things happened really quickly. I was reading something where they were like
June 3rd, sorry.
Yeah, so like January that year they got all the MySpace attention, and then by June the album was coming out. Like it was really, really, really quick, and there was so much chatter about them. Like, which is partly why I had seen that I was a music blogger like yourself, would have seen that the name Fleet Foxes and knew that they were like one of the big bands in a way that like these days it's harder, I think, like, which is why you see things, like Geese and stuff like that getting a load of attention because they use companies that like help them to go viral or whatever.
Or you,
but you didn't really have that.
You dress yourself like Angine de Poitrine. Polka Dot, Matt Rock Band, and go viral all over the internet for that.
Exactly, like you have to go to.
I couldn't imagine
lengths.
These lads doing that.
No, but like maybe in a way, like they were kind of cosplaying, living in the forest in the Puget Sound or whatever. But what was I rabbiting on about there? But yeah, what was I saying?
Just when the album came out.
Oh yeah,
so
sorry. People loved them basically, and they really kind of hit it off with people. People love their sound. I think there's this thing where because they sound so 70s, like your parents would love the record, you'd love the records. There's almost like a kind of a like the folk stuff also sounds like like a lullaby as
You're
well.
Not going to say dinner party.
I forgot the word for lullaby. Kind of a lullaby thing to it too, So it's like the music's very applicable, I think, to anybody of any different generation. And there's something lovely about nostalgic music that reminds you of a better time. And then to finish on that too, at that point, I think there's something very mysterious about Fleet Foxes because they feel like they're kind of out of time. They are these young scruffy lads with the beards or whatever, but there's a mystery about them. They weren't didn't come across as so much as like the hipsters end of things as you would have had there. They weren't like leaning into the indie sleaze vibes.
They presented as the kind of band that wouldn't have had phones.
No, it wouldn't have had phones, would have lived off grid.
Which is funny because they were a MySpace band. You're like, they're the most un-MySpace band you could imagine, really.
Completely, which is like the key. Like, surprise people, do something a bit different. Don't be exactly what people want you to be, and people will really love you for that. And then your songs are unbelievable as well too. Like, they're soaring and they're like, like so stunning.
Can we talk for a second about the cover? So it's an original painting from 1559 from Peter Bruegel the Elder. It's Netherlandish proverbs. So it depicts a densely populated Flemish village scene with 126 folk proverbs. Now there's a lot there. Some of the ones on this side are cut off. But for example, I'll name, if you can see this, I'll just leave it there because maybe it's easier to see it there. This woman here, let me see. That is a proverb. She puts the blue coat on her husband, basically saying she deceives him. So there are all these proverbs that are listed here. Like, you got the world in his hands kind of thing. What else we got? This one here, this guy, he's actually throwing roses around the pig. So to cast roses before swine, to waste effort on the unworthy. And then right at the top, there's a guy running in a field and his arse is on fire. And he's running after pigs, I think, as well. And that's he who eats fire, craps sparks. So do not be surprised at the outcome if you attempt a dangerous venture. So there's 126 of those. The interesting is that like a band managed to get the okay from whoever was in charge of.
Yeah, like
This
really unusual to
painting.
get permission to use.
Can I
piece of
use your
art.
the painting that you represent in my commercial artwork?
Yeah. Apparently the museum where the artwork is held were basically like, yeah, delighted. So, there's a lot of kind of stars aligning, I think, for them, because that is an iconic cover, because it's so different to what anybody else is doing at the time, and it's really clearly of a particular period of time, and also kind of like Where's Wally kind of vibe to it as well.
I do have a quote about it. Robin said, we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and my brother had been working out some stuff when I saw this Bruegel painting in the book my girlfriend had. I liked that it had a really intriguing meaning, like there's a story to each little scene, which I felt is fitting for that record, which is dense but unified, not a collage or anything. It's like a Where's Waldo quality. It was something you could look at for a long time on a vinyl sleeve and find new little things. It's very easy to get the museum in Berlin that has it to say yes. They were super excited the band wanted to use it and put it in their newsletter. When you open it up on the inside, there's a paisley pattern traced from the back of a book that Sky, the lead guitarist's mum got me. We wanted two very, very different feelings. So that's kind of this.
Yeah.
So
Lovely.
yeah. So what to look out for when we're going to press play very shortly?
What to look out for? I think when I was going back listening to it, I had in my mind that every single song was this like big song, because there's a lot of these big moments on it. But actually, there's two songs that are pretty much acoustic tracks. So I think it's interesting to notice like how they go from the big sound to the small. But also, I think just like for me, they're a real like emotion feeling band. So it's like, see how you like feel listening to this record, because I always feel listening to Fleet Foxes is like swell of all these emotions. I was walking down listening to Shore and I was like, oh my god, like, so I would say just like lean back and just feel into the emotions that they are bringing you with this record, and listen to the lyrics as well if you can make them out, because they are so out of time. They're all about like pack horses and like all this amazing imagery. And Robin Pecknold, who's the main songwriter, said that he didn't write about a lot of personal stuff because he hadn't enough life experience. So instead he just wrote these beautifully poetic narratives about like, pastoral life and rural life. So I thought that was really nice too. So I would say the lyrics and the feelings are the two
Track
things.
2, White Winter Hillman, is probably the biggest one
that
on
would
the
be
record.
Yeah.
So watch out for that. Other people that are thanked and as influences on this, just for some extra kind of context: Brian Wilson, Joanna Newsom, as mentioned, and Bob Dylan, Noah Lennox, all the lads from Animal Collective, Levon Helm and Robbie Robertson of the band, Blitz and Trapper, a band they toured with at the time.
Yeah, like
Remember
nobody would know who Blitz and Trapper are, but they were bigger than them at the time. And
they were,
you know,
For some reason, Joni Mitchell and Neil Young are listed together, so okay, that's fair enough. Marvin Gaye, Damon Jurado, Paul Simon and John Lennon also listed together. So Townes Van Zandt,
legend,
Vashti Bunyan and Van Morrison. So there's a nice quote from Robin Pecknold, which I'll read afterwards. Let's just open up and listen to the record and see how we feel. So I'm going to play it full volume. It's 39 minutes or so, obviously two sides. So, close your eyes, whatever you want to do. Just, vibe in your own way.
Vibe, enjoy.
So yeah, let's play it. Let's play and have a listen. All right. I love a clap. Yeah, it's quite an economical album, isn't it? It doesn't stick around long. 39 minutes.
Yeah, I like an economical.
Yeah, no,
album.
I do, but it's also one of the first times we've done quite a short record here.
Yeah,
I guess that's why I was thinking about maybe Sungiant as well in that context.
Yeah.
I'm going to read out just a bit from this liner notes from the record, because I think it's just, for an album that is quite impressionistic, very much about feelings, and there are a few direct songs, we can get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But just some of the things that were written here, which I think is kind of interesting. My first memory has always been of me and my mom on a cold grey day down at some beach in Washington, along the Puget Sound, somewhere near Seattle. I would be around 2 or 3 years old, and we were with a friend of mine from the neighborhood and his mom, walking around among the driftwood looking for crabs. Even now I can remember the smell and temperature of the air, the feeling of the sand and the swaying tall grass. I can even remember looking over at my friend and how his face looked when he smiled back at me. Another memory that I'll sometimes recall as my first memory is dressing up in the dead of winter as Jack London, with tennis rackets on my feet and wearing my dad's hiking pack in the middle of summer after seeing Disney's terrible version of White Fang. Or there's the memory of stealing my neighbour's big wheel and riding it halfway down the block before getting caught and having to turn around defeated, or of wearing a fireman's outfit while washing my parents' car, or eating an orange popsicle from the ice cream truck. These are and have always been some of my most distinct and persistent memories of childhood. So it came as a disappointment to me when one day as a teenager I opened up a photo album and found pictures of each and every one of these memories. I didn't have a single memory that didn't belong to or somehow grow from those pictures my parents had. And I don't really know what to make of it. I'm going to guess that I've seen all these photographs at some point, forgotten they were just photographs, and over time made them into my most tangible memories. That's scary to me in a way. This leads me to something weird about the power of that music has, its transportive ability. Anytime I hear a song or record that meant a lot to me at a certain moment, or I was listening to at a distinct time, I'm instantly taken back to that place in full detail. Whenever I hear Feel Flows by the Beach Boys, I'm taken straight to the back of my parents' car on the way to my grandparents' place. 14 with Surf's Up in my Walkman and the Cascade Mountains going by in the window. Any song off Radiohead's Kid A brings back the sounds and atmosphere of the airport near Seattle from when we were on the way to Colorado for a wedding, and Kid A was the only record I brought or wanted to bring. Crayon Angels by Judy Sill is the whole winter of last year, and Brian Wilson's solo version of Surf's Up would take me back to driving my parents' car around town alone at the age of 16 with the windows down at night. I can't ascribe exact memories to songs by the Microphones, Joni Mitchell, Built to Spill, Dungan, Harry Nilsson, and so many others, and it's a form of recall that I can actually trust. There's no visual element to complicate things, no chance of a planted memory that wasn't actually supposed to be there, and that is reassuring to me. Maybe I should be concerned that I'm alone in almost all of these memories, but I guess I was just a private kid, and music was a private experience for me. I can even remember the certain kind of darkness my room would have when I was in there alone listening to records. I can read a good book cover to cover and never once forget I'm sitting in the middle of 4 slabs of drywall on a spring mattress in Seattle. Same with movies and TV and anything else. I can listen to music and instantly be anywhere that song is trying to take me. Music activates a certain mental freedom in a way that nothing else can, and that is so empowering. You can call it escapism if you like, but I see it as connecting to a deeper human feeling than found in the day-to-day world. So there you go.
Poetic.
He was only 21.
That's lovely.
It's a nice
really
kind of
cute.
addendum. For some reason,
Yeah.
it's signed Warren Gamaliel Bancroft Winnipeg Harding, who was the 29th president of the United States. I don't know why he
The
signed
follies
him.
of
He
youth.
thought it was funny,
The follies
probably.
of youth.
But yeah, that's dated April 6, 2008, Chicago, Illinois. So yeah.
Lovely.
What were your impressions from any particular highlights or anything you heard there that you were like, okay, yeah?
Yeah, I was just reminded how much I really love like Blue Ridge Mountains.
Blue Ridge Mountains stood out for me, yeah,
so
yeah.
good. Yeah, second last song on the record.
yeah.
And yeah, like I just love this record so much. It's I'm kind of find it hard to put into words. Yeah, I just was reminded how much those kind of like harmonies, the 4 or 5 part harmonies in it are just like so powerful. There's like something that like really gets me about like beautiful harmonies that are really like stacked on each other and are just sound so natural. I think like my dad was really into like Neil Young and all of that era, and my mum's really into Simon and Garfunkel, and I feel like that was just like I came out of the womb being like, this is the music I love. So like immediately I fell for that. But like because there was another one I was going to say as well on it that I'm really bad at remembering song names, by the way, which is not great for an arts journalist. I'm like, it's like they go in one ear and out the other.
Well, he doesn't know why I'll mention.
He doesn't know why. That was
Oh,
it.
that it? Okay.
Yeah, I always forget the name of that song, and that is an absolute banger of a song on that record.
It's quite a direct
So
song.
it's the last
really.
one on the first side. Yeah, it really is. And he mentions his brother Sean in the Blue Ridge Mountains, which is interesting as well. That like
And Oliver James is his younger brother. That's the last song.
I think so. Is he?
It's the name of his younger brother.
Okay, and then his sister is Asia after the Steely Dan album. So obviously the
Tune.
Tune, exactly. The parents are really into them. I just think it holds up so well. The harmonies sound incredible, vocals sound incredible. There's these beautiful kind of musical flourishes. There's like a flute on one of the tracks. The guitar is stunning. There's this lovely little bass lines. I just love the way he sees, like Robin Pecknold and the band see or hear music. You know, there's a really good Song Exploder episode with him on talking about a record song on Crack Up, and just the way he thinks about how to translate his thoughts and emotions into music is so illuminating as someone who isn't a musician. Really, really interesting, and I think he just has a beautiful flow to the melody that is really similar to the flow of kind of water and nature. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
just
there's so many
natural.
nature references and
Very bucolic.
like almost it's almost parody if there's so many. Do you know what I mean?
You
Like,
could do like a
but it
fast
is
show
kind of that,
sketch
like,
about
yeah,
about
like
them,
it's such a youthful thing as well. It's like we're going to do this thing.
power of nature, man. It's
Yeah. There's a lot of that. Come down from the mountain. All
You've
that
been
kind
gone
of
too
stuff.
long up the mountain. Come down.
In terms of this record, then we mentioned obviously, we mentioned Robin Pecknold as a singer, obviously.
Yeah.
Along with him, there was Skylar Skelset, who lead guitars.
His bestie from
His
high
bestie,
school.
they met at high school.
Yeah.
Nathan Hale High School. Later joined by Casey Westcott, Christian Wargo, bass, and Nicholas Peterson on drums. After this album was released,
And who you want to mention now?
well, I mean, Nicholas Peterson clearly didn't stick around, did he? Or did he stick? Was he replaced?
Who was he replaced? Who came in as the drummer?
Well, the drummer is a man who featured. It's definitely a bit of a main character himself.
Yeah.
He's been a main character in one of these listen parties. Josh Tillman, Father John Misty, was playing drums with them.
Yeah.
For how long?
Oh, so it was only about like a year or two. It was pretty short.
Yeah, as I said, main
He was
character
making
energy.
his own record. Yeah, main character syndrome. Man.
Yeah.
Anybody fans of Father John Misty?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
right.
I know, like he's like writes really good songs and he's handsome, so like we all love him. But but at the same time, he's a bit of a pain in the ass. So
Oh, yeah,
he
look,
didn't get on very well with Robin Pecknold.
He's. It's not surprising when I was looking back at the Pitchfork interview that they did in 2008. So the album had just come out a few months, and the big like interview with Robin and Josh Tillman, and Josh Tillman is the one answering the questions at the start. I was like, that's
great.
confidence.
Do you want to hear a quote from what Robin Pecknold said about why he left
I'd
the
love
band?
to hear this,
yeah,
yes.
I've written it in my little notebook.
Gossip.
So old school, sorry, but that's the only way I remember these things. He basically said, he said in a Reddit AMA Ask Me Anything 2020, Pecknold said that he said on that tour, because basically they were touring with, I think it was Helplessness Blues tour, and at the time Joshua Tillman was supposed to bring out another record, and his record label said you can bring it out but after this tour, basically. So he was on this tour being like, I want to bring out my own record, I'm kind of tired of Fleet Foxes. And Robin Pecknold said on that tour, I had to endure being around a lot of substance abuse, sabotage shows, just general ill treatment, shit talking, all while paying him for songs he didn't have anything to do with. It sucked. And then he left the band.
Funny because that Pitchfork interview was like, I love playing this in this band.
Yeah.
These are all my friends. I'm having the best time. I'm sorry if that's a corny quote, but that's the best thing.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about this experience right
He
now.
was lying through his teeth. I think he's the kind of person who like really has to be a solo artist. He's just too, iconic personality.
I wouldn't be want to wrangle him out of bed
No.
to go to the next show at any point.
No, too big
but
personality.
You mentioned Pitchfork there. The album was the #1 album at the end of year list in 2008. Obviously, as well, the other thing about this is that they also listed Sungiant, the EP, alongside it.
Yeah.
Kind of breaking the traditional conventions of end of year lists.
That's Pitchfork for you.
Yeah. So what they said actually about it was listing Fleet Fox's debut album and EP may be awkward, but it just feels right. They're like two sides of a coin and equally express the band's mastery of its music. A catch-all Americana that takes a wide slice of our popular music spectrum and pulls it through a reverse prism to create a gorgeous and focused sound of the band's own. The threads tastes of Brian Wilson's intricate coastal pop, Appalachian folk, modern indie rock, Grateful Dead jams, and other influences are masterfully synthesized in the band's harmonies and simply orchestrated by constantly shifting instrumental arrangements. The group shared the sense of dynamics, Robin Pecknold's sense of dynamics, and Fleet Foxes flows like a river, wild and free but logical, filling what needs to be filled and moving on.
I swear I didn't rob that off Pitchfork, thought I said something similar, but I swear to God.
It
Came up in it all on my own self.
Very good. It was the uncut album of the year as well. But more than anything, and this is a strange accolade. Remember this one now. The album was ranked number 36 on Rolling Stone's 2013 list of the 40 greatest stoner albums. Not.
I don't think Robin Pecknold was a stoner.
I don't think it really fits for me.
Yeah,
I know. I mean, like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's a reader.
Yeah.
Not a stoner.
So, what came after this album?
So they had helplessness blues, which is really
Tough
difficult
one.
to say out loud. And then
2011.
And then Crack Up, which was 2016,
16, yeah.
and then Shore, which is 2020. So big long gaps between the records, but they had those kind of some kind of personnel changes. And then also Robin Pecknold, as we have established, is a very literary kind of guy, and he went to Columbia to do his an undergrad in English literature, because he basically left high school early and then went to kind of a community college, and he really wanted to have that college experience. So he went and studied that. So that was a bit of a break. And he also had kind of difficult times. He's spoken about kind of mental health issues, suicidal ideation and things like that. So he's had, many tough experiences. So I think that kind of contributed towards the breaks as well. So yeah, they haven't released anything since 2020, and he's doing a lot of cover events. They have 2 live records.
You're saying
as well.
today he's actually playing a gig tonight?
Yeah, I think it's tonight. He's doing a live gig that I think he's done before, where he covers Judy Sill. Anybody else a Judy Sill fan? Oh my gosh, she's amazing. Nobody ever knows Judy Sill. She's so, if you listen to anything, listen to Heart Food by Judy Sill. It's iconic. It's so good, and he loves her. He mentions her on this.
Is that the vocal layery one?
No. She's the one who does the song The Kiss. People might have seen her do The Kiss on the Old Grey Whistle Test. It's on YouTube. She was really kind of had a tragic life.
One of those artists
really
I've been meaning to listen to properly for
and she only has
now.
pretty much two
I
records, so it's easy.
No
So
excuse.
as in it'll be easy for you to get
Yes.
into it. And there's a documentary about her as well, which I haven't seen. But yeah, she's kind of one of those ill-fated 70s, musicians. Really religious imagery, did a lot of drugs. Really interesting.
Yeah. Did you get
I love
to
those
see?
kind of musicians.
You get to see them after your first foray in Berlin.
I saw them. I'm trying to think if I saw them in between, but I know I definitely. It's really bad when you can't remember what you're doing
Listen.
in the 2010s. But I saw them when they toured Shore. Did anybody see them at that Dublin gig?
That was the Wider
Bad.
Than Pictures show.
Wasn't it
yeah,
amazing?
yeah. 2022.
It was so good. 2022.
I think I've gathered here they played Vicar Street in 2008.
I might have been.
I don't know if that must have been
I
on
don't
their
know
own
if I saw
show.
that.
Lecture Picnic 2009. The Marquee in Cork 2011.
Oh, I think I was at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ivy Gardens in 2017. So they've been here a fair bit. I don't know if I missed any, but maybe you can tell me.
Yeah.
So if you were to pick, we're going to play. Niall over here brought a copy of Shore, which I didn't have. We're going to play in a minute.
Yeah.
Can I Believe You? As an example of where the
good.
band is at most
Yeah.
recently. Before we finish up.
Yeah.
But is there any other further reading you would suggest to somebody?
Yeah.
That isn't
That
necessarily
isn't
Fleet
necessarily
Foxes.
Fleet Foxes.
I think
So
I have a lot of it here that are very obvious stuff, maybe. But
Yeah. Yes, so I mentioned Judy Sill. I would definitely go check out Judy Sill, because I think if you really like Fleet Foxes, you will really vibe with Judy Sill. And he mentions Harry Nielsen, also unbelievable, definitely obviously more well known than Judy Sill. He did the cover of Everybody's Talking at You. They're amazing. I would also mention a guy who people would have known at one point but isn't very well known now, Richard Swift. Any fans of Richard Swift? So he sadly, another fan down there, he sadly passed away a couple of years ago. He would have been friends with Robin Pecknold, and he actually was just such a talented musician who kind of struggled again with addiction and things like that. And he has an amazing record that came out in around 2005, 2006. It's like a double album you can get. That's brilliant. And he also has a record called The Hex, which is referenced on, I think it's Sunblind on Shore. There's a song I think it's that song on this record on Shore, where basically Robin Pecknold name checks a lot of musicians he really loves, like Elliott Smith, David Berman, Richard Swift. And I just think it's a really beautiful record for finding new people to listen to, but also it's so nice as a fan of music as we all are to hear a musician like pay homage to and pay tribute to musicians that he loves. And the imagery on this is like he's kind of talking about this beautiful day where he'll go for a swim and he'll do this and he'll do that and he'll listen to all these beautiful bands, this beautiful music. And I just thought it's such a beautiful song. It's like an ecstatic kind of song. So I would check out all of those records, but Richard Swift deserves more fans, and the Hex is really, really good.
Lovely.
Record.
Good shout. So what we'll do now is I'll play that tune, and then maybe I'll give Sun Giant another go. Feel free to stick around. Our next listening party is the 27th of May, and it is an indie rock album that is very close to my heart. It's Broken Social Scenes, You Forgotten People. I've been wanting to buy this on record for a long, long time. They're obviously playing here later in the year, but I want to give this record its flowers. It's incredible. My niece has just turned 17, and I bought her a copy of it because I was like, anthems for a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah. That record just like, I can't believe that band are still going, which is kind of mad. But like, it's hard to underline what Broken Social Scene meant to like a certain segment of the indie fan. Like, you know, like there's 400 of them on stage. They're from Canada. We were like, oh my God, these people are the best band ever.
For me, I mean, we're talking about the MP3 times. Obviously, we'll talk about this next month, so, you know.
Sorry,
it was
spoiler alert.
It was the MP3 times, so I heard about them through the music blogs, and then I remember going to see them in the Button Factory, which was Temp Bar Music Centre at the time.
Yep.
One of the first things I ever wrote about in 909, actually,
Oh, wow.
2005.
Yeah.
And it was a transcendental experience.
Yeah, they're so good live.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that one.
I once DJ'd in Galway after one of their gigs, and one of the members of the band, who shall remain nameless, came over and turned off the desk as I was DJing.
On purpose?
He was that drunk. Yeah, he was absolutely...
What were you playing?
Kevin. I can't remember what I was playing, but I was like, look at me, great, DJing after booksters, and then the band member ruins the gig.
Like, he didn't like it?
No, I think he was just really drunk and thought it was funny to do it.
Okay,
yeah,
God,
so thumbs down to him.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, it's surprising that a man like himself has managed to persist with a band like that, a collective, such a many, lots of people. Anyway, I digress. We'll talk about this next month.
Save that.
May 27th. I cannot wait to. I've been listening to this a lot lately again, and it's fantastic. So looking forward to that. Okay, thank you for being here. Let's play a bit of this, and then sure, we'll see what happens. We'll play a bit of this. Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.